press the OK button and off we go. Happy talkie. Right, today on the Podful of Saints, we are reflecting on the Saints' 1-1 draw with Torquay United at Plainmoor. We're doing it on Wednesday, the 25th of September, 2024. And we're ably guided by the man there, got his head on upside down, Jake Ellacott.
That's a new one. Thank you, Dave. Hello, everyone.
And Lee Wood, who's not singing today for some reason.
I think you can't. You finished him off already.
Jesus Christ. I've got nothing. I've got no comeback to that. To carry on, mate. Jesus, that was brilliant. Comical genius from D. Tavener.
But it's nothing new, is it? Oh, I think he's had it before. Right. Let's try and switch his hand warmer on. Here we are in September, putting a blooming hand warmer on. That's probably been an old git. Right. Plainmoor. Yeah, you drive through Torquay and you're going through these streets and they're all so tightly knitted. All the houses are really tight, the roads are tight. And you come across this fantastic football ground. Doesn't look it from the outside. You're going there and Plainmoor. It's wonderful. It's changed so much from our first visit in 1980. You just would not recognise it. But it's a wonderful ground. We're penned in one corner, the away supporters. You're not even allowed along that terrace along the back. Probably didn't need it for 35 paying supporters, forget the freeloaders. But the view is fantastic. It's great though, isn't it, Jake?
It is. It's an enjoyable day out. Those of us that did go down the Brave 35 made a good day of it. Everyone had a good time. Helped that the weather was lovely. Football. Well, one supporter said to me about 2 o'clock, "Do we have to go to the game? Can we just not stay here and enjoy the seafront?" Unfortunately, we had to go enjoy the game. But as I said, it's one of those great things about St Albans City is every now and again you get to go to a stadium. You think, "What are we doing here? We don't belong here," and it's always great seeing the Saints play in those sort of grounds.
I hope there's some more grounds like that in the Southern League next season. Right.
David.
What is that? You're not allowed to say that? Oh, okay. The game itself, it wasn't wonderful. It wasn't all that inspiring. But credit for us for getting a point, I suppose. But Torquay, we'll come on to them in a minute. Maybe not the greatest side in National League South. As for us, after 3 games without changing the side, there was one change. Joe Partington was out, injured. So Sam Deadfield took over as captain and Dan Bowery came in. And I thought did a pretty good job, as he has done a few times this season, actually. Dan's not having the worst of seasons. But so that first half, I don't know what you thought, Jake, it wasn't very inspiring. The second half was much livelier for various reasons. But one thing I felt from that first half, although we didn't do much attacking, when we did go forward, there were gaps in their defence. That is not a good Torquay defence by any stretch of imagination. And one best chance we had, I suppose, was when Zane Banton latched onto that ball, went wide of the keeper, cut it across the goal. Sean pulled off his man beautifully, hit it first time, and a great block on the line by, what was it, Sam Dreyer? Joe, whatever his name is. And that denied us having a half-time lead. But it wasn't the greatest of halves, was it, Jake?
No, we discussed at the break, didn't we, about how it wasn't most inspiring. It's fair to say, and it wasn't really. We had quite a bit of the ball, but both teams really struggled to make the most of it. Torquay seemed to be offside every time they went forward. Every time we went forward, I say there were gaps there, but we went back to that old trait of that which you've bemoaned quite a bit this season, Dave, of we didn't use it in attacking sense. We turned back, either lost the ball or turned back and recycled and started again. We just didn't really go anywhere in that first half. We were comfortable on the ball. Torquay weren't exactly dangerous, but we just looked very slow. And I remember saying to some other supporters, if you compare that first half on Saturday to the first half down there in February, I mean, we look like a totally different side in a negative sense, unfortunately. We were just so much more hesitant on the ball. I think it's fair to say we just weren't willing to make those runs and those incisive passes. So, but, we weren't losing. We have to remember Torquay had 16 points. So I think we'd have taken 0-0 at the break.
Oh, most definitely. Sam Dreyer, previously mentioned, along with, what was his name, the guy up front, so Ben Seymour, were teammates of Sam Deadfield at Hampton last season. Right, so the second half, yes, much livelier. We didn't start too badly, but we went a goal down. Fantastic move, and we should have gone a goal up. Gio Sulu heavily involved in it, and he did a great run. He left Oscar Threlkeld just left him for dead. They were level on the halfway line, and off he went. And a great ball through by Josh Castellano. But poor finish by Gio, do you reckon, Jake, or was it a good save? And from it, they broke away and they got one of the softest goals you will ever see.
It was. I thought the finish was a bit of both, and also you've got Sean Jeffers there, haven't you? To his left, lurking away, wanting a pass. I think as Gio broke through, a couple of us shouted, square it," and unfortunately didn't, and of course saved it. And then before we could work out what was happening again, then we take the league, and it's a shame because I said that goal was really, really soft. And it's just the defence had let us down on that one occasion. Throughout the rest of the game, the defence was absolutely fine. I thought we looked pretty decent at the back, just that one time. And we say Torquay didn't look great, but you get punished, don't you, by those teams that have a little bit more quality in this league. They didn't have much, but they had that one chance and they took it.
Yeah, that goal was unfortunate, really. First of all, when the ball bounced off Dan Bowery's hip, and then getting in the box, and the shot was actually deflected off him and went in as well. In the meantime, Phil Chinadu, what on earth was he doing? It's because defenders nowadays are taught to pass the ball around. No, clear your lines. Comes to you, you're in the box, clear your lines. Instead, he tries to do a stupid pass to a bloke who happened to be wearing a Torquay shirt, Ben Seymour, lashed it in, slight deflection, his first goal for the club. He'd probably get more if he tried staying on his feet a bit more. But I thought that was like their defence. Their weakness was they weren't that strong up front, were they?
No, they weren't. And we saw, I thought, after we went behind, we almost took control straight away, didn't we, of the game? And we just looked much more confident in the ball. And when we actually looked to impose ourselves on Torquay, we were able to take control of the game, really, leading up to our equaliser. And I said, I think a lot of it's because Torquay knew that they didn't have much going forward, so they were quite happy to sit back as well and try and take control of the game. But we had enough to do it ourselves. And again, it just, leading up to that domination we had after their goal makes you think, if we'd done this during the first half, maybe this is actually quite a bit of a missed opportunity of a game, unfortunately.
Yeah, that goal, it was a great goal. But both managers after the game, I felt, both managers, we'll do that for one and that for another. And
God.
I thought they were a bit deluded in some of their comments. Paul Wotton was complaining it was a foul in the build-up. No, it's a Wotton. It's a magnificent tackle by David Long-King on Cody Cook. And then, boom, we were away and Zane lashed the ball in. Terrific goal. And Zane really, not so much in the first half, but certainly in the second half, that was the old Zane, wasn't it? They couldn't control him, and he was taking charge of that game. But then, shortly after the goal, sending off. I was standing next to Tim Petty. He called it straight away. He said Zane's in trouble here. I couldn't see from the other side. And red card. And looking at the highlights on the City website, or City, whatever you want to call it, Twitter thing. The red card was dead right, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I thought you could tell by the reaction of the supporters on that side at the time. They went straight up. The referee, their stewards had to run over and hold their fans back from invading the pitch. Went up straight up. All the players went up, and I thought you could tell it was going to be a red. Don't think there was going to be much else choice, and this ended up in quite a nasty injury for the Torquay man as well. So, best wishes to him. But we know Zane, he's not that sort of player. I know that's a cliche, isn't it? And maybe he is. We don't know that, but you just don't ever expect that to come from someone like Zane Banton. So it's a shame, and I honestly think that if he hadn't been sent off, I think we had a very good chance of winning that game.
I totally agree. It's his second red card for us in 274 games. The other one was a foul, wasn't it, against Hemel Hempstead, his old club. Totally out of character. What happened there, I just don't know. He can be niggly, but he gets niggled all the time, so you don't blame him when he responds. But to do something like that with the elbow, no, just couldn't see it coming at all. And it's a shame because after that, we were on the back foot. But I never felt, I don't know what you felt, Joe, I never felt Torquay were going to get a winner. They were putting us under pressure, trying to get crosses in. We were defending so well, blocking the crosses, blocking the shots. And Michael Johnson really had a relatively quiet afternoon.
Yeah, he did. And I think this feeds into the general theme of the last three games where we've gone unbeaten. That's because the defence has just started to look much more improved. I think they've now spent a bit more time together. They're bonding, like Chenadu stepping up. I know he made the mistake. You've got David Longking, who again put in another superior performance at the back, I thought. And you've got those other players along that side that we've started to contribute. And even Michael Johnson at the back. He didn't start the season in the best of form, it's fair to say. But since Tonbridge away, he's looked a bit more confident. He's coming out for balls a bit better. I think it's fair to say. So plenty of positives at the back. And like you said, Torquay didn't really feel like they were going to cause us danger. And I think a lot of that was because of how solid we looked at the back.
Yeah, and I think Torquay are low on confidence. You can see why. 5 games, only 1 win, 2 of the home draws against, us and Averley. Crikey, these are bad results. They ain't getting hammered by, Sunday League side in the FA Cup. I thought in the summer they made a good appointment in Paul Wotton. I thought that's a very shrewd move. But that is not a good Torquay side. He's still got a lot of work there to do. If they are seriously going to challenge, but there they are, 5th in the table. They made a good start, gone off a bit at the moment.
I
Are they going to come up? What about the penalties? Torquay complaining, 2 penalties. Handball against Jack James. Yes, he did handle it. If you're claiming those, you are desperate. One in the last minute. Sam Deadfield on Omar Musa. Yes, that was a penalty. He caught his standing foot. Excellent drag back, and it fooled Deadfield, and he caught him. How would you say it?
Great tackle. Don't know what you're talking about, Dave. No issues at all. Yeah, it was. I mean, again, their fans absolutely went ballistic after that tackle down that end. Referee was not interested at all. I've seen a clip from the other side of the pitch to where we were behind the linesman. And even the linesman stops his play thinking, right, I know the ref's going to give a penalty here. Then 2 seconds, he's like, oh, wait, no, we're still playing on. I better catch up with the defensive line. Yeah, it was pretty obvious. But, I mean, I think if we'd lost, I think that would have been pretty undeserved. So I'm really not too upset it wasn't given.
It's funny because Torquay complain an injustice in not winning that game. No, I think you are deluding yourselves a bit there. To have won it on a penalty, and you wouldn't have done anyway because Michael Johnson never lets in penalties. That's clutching at straws a bit there, really. Overall, a good point for us. I don't think we could claim any more than that, really. Had Zane stayed on, like you said, Jake, I think we may have gone and won it. But in the end, there's no way we were going to win it with 10.
No, not at all. Lee, I wonder what you think you're watching from afar, but does it look like a good point to you as well?
Very much so. I think losing is a habit, but also winning is a habit as well. And I think we're sort of, I'm not going to go as far as to say we've sort of turned a particular corner, but I think you can. One thing was evident was that we enjoyed the time on the ball, and Torquay were willing to let us have that, a slightly larger pitch. But what I'm saying is that when we've got that time on the ball, we're a bit more lethargic in our play. I think when teams try to attack us, we can use the skills and the midfielders to sort of just pass around them, and then we can sort of get going and really dictate the pace of the play. One thing I would say about this as well, absolutely stonewall penalty at the end. I've seen some people say, no, it was good. No, it was a stonewall penalty. Absolutely, in a month of Sundays. But I'm liking this pod today. You know, Tavs has obviously had a pint of angry juice or some space cakes or something because he's got that glint in his eye today, and no one is safe from the ridicule of his forked tongue. So let's see how this pod evolves over the next sort of few minutes or so. I was sort of dipping in and out of the online feed as well as listening to the wireless. But on the whole, I think you have to appreciate that it's a good point in the circumstances of where we are. Tavs, you're absolutely spot on, mate. Torquay aren't a good side, but I'm not entirely sure that sort of transition that they want is going to happen over the course of a month or two. It's going to be a lot because they were poor last season. One of the reasons I didn't go to the Torquay game, I wanted that 4-0 just to be, I want to sort of dine out on that a little bit longer because it was such a monumental performance. But I think getting back to the here and now, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how we can build upon that. We have got a little bit of a run now. We've got the Cup coming up on Saturday, a good confidence-boosting win there. We go into the league campaign again. And then all of a sudden, you're just sort of getting, people start feeling a bit better about themselves. The team are united a bit more. Interesting, I bumped into Kieran Gauthier on Sunday. Had a really good chat with him for about half an hour. Really nice lad. It's quite evident that the players are still very much behind the manager, and quite rightly so. It's still early days in comparison. They just feel as though they're not getting the luck that they deserve right now. With reference to Zane's red card, he said it's always the quiet ones. They know Zane, and obviously we know Zane. I'm not entirely sure he's got a ferocious bad bone in his body. I mean, he breaks half of them. So the thing is, Zane was very much sort of down when they got back into the changing room after the game because he felt as though he let the club down. But ultimately, this sort of thing happens, right? But Kieran was sort of saying that the desire is still there to play for Nobby. You know, they're working so hard. And he said that he's only been around the fringe of the first team for a short while, but he can see the intensity of the players, the intensity of the training. Everyone is very much bought into what David Noble is trying to implement here at Clarence Park. And a point away to Torquay, it's a good starting point. And hopefully that can be now the driving point. Because the thing is, we're going to face better teams than Torquay, of course we are. But ultimately, this is now, it's stepping stones. We've had such a horrendous start. But Kieran, along with the rest of the players, they are in no doubt that David Noble is the right man to take us forward.
No player would say differently about their manager.
Of course not. Of course not.
Jake, after the game, you spoke to some Torquay supporters, I think. They really gave him a hard time at the final whistle. They're booing him off Sam Reid. And yet, Tim and I were saying throughout the game, he's having a good game, even with a sending off. The first handball penalty, forget that, it's nonsense. They should have had the second penalty, yes. But overall, he wasn't being blowing up for every time a player went down. And he had a good game, and he didn't deserve a stick they got. What were the Torquay supporters saying to you?
Pretty much every Torquay fan we ran into said this is the worst ref we've ever seen, and we said, well, he sent our bloke off, so we don't really, have much of an opinion. I don't know why you're moaning so much. There's a brilliant tirade on a Facebook page somewhere that I saw someone screenshot and sent over, and it's just this long paragraph, no breaks, no apostrophes, nothing really, and it's just an absolute tirade of abuse and calling the ref just the most useless man he's ever seen. And sure, they probably did have a pen turned down at the end, but he wasn't that bad.
No, he wasn't. He did well. Third time we've had him. Previous 2 times he'd had a penalty, so he started going against us. He's not giving us penalties now, and he started sending our lot off. There you go. The attendance Saturday, 3,287, the 6th highest we played in front of in National League South. 1,000 up on our visit in February. We took 62 supporters last time, middle of winter. This time we only took 35.
Well,
You know what it is?
I don't think the run of form helps.
Hopefully not.
Before we move on, I want to mention those 35 that did travel. Great support. Tried to get in behind the team. Plenty of noise. It's a long old day. A very long old day for players and the supporters, it's fair to say. And also, last 2 games, we've had 2 goals that have come from shots from pretty much the edge of the area or outside of the area. It's amazing what happens, isn't it, when we get shots away, lads? Look at this. Come on, let's do that a bit more.
Who knew?
We'd be top of the table now if we were managers. Anyway, that was the 4th attempt, the first goal in the pink kit. Only took 326 minutes. First away point of the season, but we're still, despite the players' support for the manager, fewest points and fewest goals from the opening 9 games of the season. Only one season have we had to wait longer for the first league win. But we've not conceded a goal in the first half, last 6 games. And the last 3 league games have all been against sides that are 5th in the table prior to kick-off. And now we move on to the FA Cup.
There's positives, isn't there? Positives there. But we were saying on the way down to Torquay that this game won't define our season. It's not a result that we would be, we wouldn't want a big win or whatever. But because of where we are in the table, it was actually quite important that we came away with something because of how the table is building in the way that the gap we've already got to the teams above us. So the next few weeks are really, really crucial, and there are much more important games coming along.
Yes, Galston this coming Saturday. They play at Wellesley Recreation Ground in Sandown Road in Great Yarmouth at the moment. They haven't got their own ground. Itchy League North, 7th in the table, 3 wins, lost the last 2, only 1 home league game so far. And they beat Redbridge in front of 64. We might just beat that on their own with a bit of luck. But they're home again tonight, I think, aren't they, against Haybridge Swifts. Well, Goulston's 6th FA Cup tie this season already. Do we fancy it?
Ah.
Well, you don't, obviously, going by that sort of that build-up. You've got to, haven't you? You've got to, surely. I mean, there's slip-ups, and it's the FA Cup, and we can whittle on about, the magic of the cup and all this, but you've got to look at the quality and the in context of the opposition. If we don't go there and win, something has really fallen apart. I expect a comfortable win, a resounding result, a quality performance, lots of goals for us, a bigger away day for the likes of Jacob, myself, and the rest of the boys going down on the choo-choo. And then hopefully, I know it sounds like a broken record, but this can really build confidence. Look at what the result at Needham Market did. It really just get the players believing in themselves again. And this is just another step along that journey for us.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if we don't win. It's a very favourable draw. We don't want to be complacent, obviously. And it's a chance for the players to really put the league form behind them and deflect a bit of attention from it. It would be a good thing. Get into the final qualifying round, pick up another 5,625 for winning pounds, that is, winning on Saturday. It all helps. It's quite a few beers less we've got to sell next week if we get that money. I can't see us not winning. But if it goes the other way, doesn't it look bad when you look at our league position?
It looks very, very bad, I think say. And there is always the risk of it being a banana skin, isn't it? Like Lee says, there's all the cliches about Magic Cup, but we should be going there confident. But there's always a bit of a risk. I'm sure there won't be, but I mean, they struggled to get through against a team division below them, Barking the other week. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be an interesting experience. I think they've got a running track, well to stand. Yarmouth, the beach is pretty much there. So, I mean, looking forward to, I'm sure, a few Saints fans running into the sea. We won't name them, but I think we know who may be doing it. I think it will be a really good day out. And I say, Dave, it could be another positive sign and another brick in what David Noble is starting to build. But we can't go there with the view that we're definitely going to win. This is going to be easy, especially when we've got the likes of Zane Banton now out.
Yeah, he's out for 3 games, so potentially he could miss 2 rounds of the FA Cup.
Yes.
But in that run, I think he will be eligible to play in the Hearts Charity Cup at Hitchins.
Thank goodness.
He get a bit of exercise. Don't know much about the Goulston side. 2 of the players, though, Zach Dromfield and Kieran Higgs. They played for Leiston against us last year with Higgs getting Leiston's goal. And the referee is Josh Cross, unless they changed it. He did our recent draw with Western-super-Mare, and we had him at New Year's Day for the win at Hemel.
Oh, bodes well. Bodes well. I think team-wise, I think I saw Ken Charles is back in training. So he might be back featuring. We spoke to Tafari Moore very briefly before the game on Saturday, and he seemed positive. I'm not sure when he'll be back. Hopefully this Saturday. I think there was talk of him potentially featuring at Torquay, but I think it was maybe they don't want to rush him at the minute because we saw with Ben Wyatt last season, didn't we? We rushed him back a couple of times. It just ended so badly. Yeah. So hopefully Tafari, we know we need to look after him, but maybe he'll be back in the squad potentially for Saturday. That'd be nice to see. But I think Ken Charles will hopefully, and I don't know about anyone else.
Charles was supposed to be fit 2 weeks ago, we were told, and here we are. He's still not playing. What about Joe Partington? Any news on him?
No, not heard anything about him, to be honest. But at the minute, the defence is looking okay. So if Joe can't feature, I don't know if it's the end of the world. So, and also, again, Joe's one of those players at his age. I don't know if you really want to rush him back.
The one thing I would say as well, speaking to Kieran at the weekend, one thing he said is that he works really well with Dan Bowery in the back there. Those two really hit it off, and they played really well at Dorking as well. So maybe there's an opportunity for those to sort of start up again in the back on Saturday. Can I ask you fellas though, right? We're talking about this, and yes, it's going to be a hard game, of course, because we don't really know what entity we're really facing. Something has got to go really, 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 really wrong for us not to come out with a victory. Because, I mean, what did you say they were, Taz? Isthmian North or whatever it was?
Yep.
I'm trying to be respectful as much as I can, but you can't see a situation where they're, going to be coming away with anything at all. And I think what will happen is Nobby has just managed to silence some of those noises that have been at the back of his mind with a good win against Needham, a very good point against Torquay, a little bit of a run now. He's just managed to sort of quash any of that noise that's unnecessary in the back of his head, the distraction from any of the players. The last thing he wants is to go out of the cup at this stage against this quality of opposition on the run we've just sort of maybe overcome. So I don't think the players, certainly not the management, are going to take this lightly at any stretch. I'm after a comfortable win, lots of goals, really good performance, commanding performance, and seeing us in the hat for the next round, hopefully.
I'm sure 2 words. Bishop's Cleave will be drummed into the players. It can happen. It can happen.
It can happen.
Yeah. Right. As I say, the winners on Saturday get 5,625. The losers get 1,875. Galston, from their 5 games so far, have picked up 8,194. And now win the other week at Needham, £3,375. So it starts getting serious once you get the 4th qualifying, obviously, and the first round. Get a bit of TV money, as we found out a few years ago.
Well, a money man today, Tav, aren't you? Jesus.
We talk about we should be winning, but it is an important game, isn't it? We've got to keep it running. There's a lot at stake. We know how much the FA Cup means to the club. We know that David Noble's still under pressure. So if we lose Saturday, there's just so many question marks, like Dave said. So we just got to go there confidently, try and control the game, and just apply ourselves like we did at Needham Market. I think Needham Market, we didn't let them settle. We took control. We played positively further up the pitch. And I think we need to do exactly the same on Saturday. I think if we are 0-0 20 minutes in and we start letting Galston take control or get a few chances, then I think a little bit of worry will settle in. Maybe not panic, a little bit worry. So we've got to go there confident, take control early on. And I think an early goal could be crucial in settling any sort of nerves. I don't think there should be, but I think this first half goal, I think, will hopefully see us on our way.
Yeah, well, predictions, any first half goal. I'm going to go for a 3-0 again, the FA Cup.
I'm going 5-1.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, why not?
I'll go 2-0.
Very nice. There we go.
Not that optimistic then, are you, mate? Eh?
We're going to look absolutely idiots, aren't we, when we either get knocked out or we've got a replay next Tuesday.
Why change the habit of a lifetime, my friend?
We're going for scores 2-0, 3-0, 5-1, and there we are saying, don't be complacent.
Hey, it's FA Cup, mate. We're allowed to dream, right?
Exactly, indeed. Talking of the FA Cup, I think you put a tweet out trying to get some messages from supporters, Jake.
Yeah, we put out earlier about people's favourite FA Cup goals because we did a bit more general games last week. We had a few in. Adrian's just one for you, Dave. This Bill Ratty versus Walsall.
No, it's not for me. He put Bill. It's 2 years before I started watching. Bill put us 1-0 up in 5 minutes, and Walsall got a controversial equaliser 5 minutes from time. Then beat us 3-1 in a replay with John Butterfield scoring. But yes, Bill Ratty. I spoke to him about that goal when we had the Boreham Wood Cup tie a couple of years ago, 3 years ago.
There you
anyway,
go. A few others was another one that I don't remember actually. Lee, Davey May, Sam Merson away at Egham in a qualifying round, wasn't it?
Final qualifying round.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I remember the celebration more than I remember the actual goal. I think it was just the importance of it. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's particularly spectacular in any way. We would have had a lot more responses if Drake would have put the tweet out yesterday, like we asked him to.
Hey, don't have a go at me. Obviously, there's some obvious ones as well. Theophanis versus Carlisle. Obviously, everyone remembers Marias, which was a brilliant goal and one goal of the round and was in, I think, the goal of the season competition. But Theophanis also had a really good goal that day. And also Theophanis again versus Grimsby. I think that was again up for goal of the round, wasn't it? That was another brilliant finish.
One goal of the round.
There you go.
BBC,
you mentioned that last time, yeah.
Great goal. Fantastic goal,
yeah. Good.
Go on, Dave.
No, just saying the Carlisle game came in the next round after Egham, so Sam's goal was very important.
Oh, there you go. And then another one which I enjoyed was good old Big Dave Dijou away at Corinthian Casuals, that
Big
equaliser,
Dave.
which we discussed a few weeks ago.
Big
That
Dave.
goal was brilliant. The celebrations are brilliant, and I think it sent him on his way to being a cult hero, didn't it? We love him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some from down the years. I mentioned last time, I think Paul Mao's goal at home to Torquay in that 1-1 draw in 1980. Yes, go on.
I'd say I watched earlier the Chatham Town highlights, which you can find on YouTube, and the two goals there, maybe not greatest quality. The first goal actually was quite a good passing move, but the celebrations for both were absolutely superb, and you can see how much it meant to Saints fans back in 2013. Those two goals, watching them back, filled me with so much nostalgia and were really enjoyable to watch. So search on YouTube, Storm City versus Chatham, and you'll find them on there.
Yeah, I remember Phil Wood scrambling in a goal against Letchworth Town in 74-75. Phil didn't score many for us in his 900 games. He got about 30. There's a picture of him down on his hands and knees after his score, and I think Phil Waller's got his head, put his head off. God knows why. Happy days.
So, Lee, have you got any that we haven't mentioned?
I think for me, I think they're not spectacular. I mean, the most spectacular is probably Theo's away to Grimsby. That was an absolute peach. I think a couple of romantic sort of goals that I quite like. My first ever City FA Cup goal at Clarence Park, Dean Williams' header in the third qualifying round replay against Stevenage. Just fantastic. What an absolute night. Followed up by actually the second goal, Muddy.
Yeah.
Bullet header into the York Road goal. And if I remember this right, it wasn't covered at that point. And after he scored, I just remember him just bundling into the fans. Cockers was on his back. And I thought that was just the first time really my love affair with Muddy and indeed the club sort of really did set in. I think Lockie's goal against Mansfield is always up there, simply because it's the first time we've played someone big for quite a while at home. And it was just the start of something really amazing. And okay, the result didn't quite go our way, but it was just no, you're right, absolutely. But I think it was just that euphoria. We didn't expect anything out of that game. We didn't get anything other than this one little nugget. And I think that really did shine through. I think he was just as amazed as anyone else that he went in. But I think you can go one or two ways with FA Cup goals in terms of your favourites. The most spectacular ones that maybe get that they win a tie or they win a game, or the ones that you sort of, I don't know, like your first one or whatever, And I think it's the responses that we've seen on Twitter, Jake, is the fact that it has been so diverse, and again, it reiterates how much the FA Cup means to the club and means to the fans of this great club. So hopefully, again, this season, despite all that's gone before in the league, we can use the cup to really galvanise those fans back together again now and sort of lead onwards and upwards throughout the course of the season.
Did nobody pick Mitchell Weiss's goal, Zane Banton's goal, or Sean Jeffers' goals against the Forest Green Rovers?
I suggested it, but no one did. But they were all brilliant, weren't they? But I think that game as a whole is just so special.
Very good point. That Forest Green game. It's a standalone occasion. It's a standalone entity because it wasn't the FA Cup. It was just like literally, it was just an out of body experience, as in everything, wasn't it? It was just so the game seemed to last for like 4 hours. It was that tense, and it was just bizarre. And the fact we won was even better. I don't know. It was, for me, the Forest Green game is a standalone thing. But it's all. I mean, Clarkie's go away to Bristol City. I mean, we were 7-1 down or whatever it was at the sort of time. So the fact, the way he celebrated as though he'd won the cup itself was just fantastic. Scenes behind the goal. So yeah. But again, let's hope that starting Saturday we can create some more ad memories, because we've seen in seasons past just how lucrative financially, but also form-wise, it can do to a club. So yeah, let's hope that.
There's one of the bizarre goals. All right, one we conceded. Darren Foxley's for Bishop Stortford. How ludicrous was that?
Christ. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not go there.
It's funny how cup fortunes change. That one virtually put us out, and then at the other end of the scale for a goalkeeper, because that was a goalkeeper's fault. You got Michael Johnson's penalty save at Concord Rangers. Turned our season there, really, in many ways.
Exactly. Hey, in a few years' time, we might be looking back on Gio Rasulo's strike away at Needham, thinking, "Well, that really set us on that great FA Cup run that season, didn't it?" Oh, there you go.
There we go. Onwards upwards.
The lack of response.
Yes, indeed. Right. Have you got any news, player news? Anybody coming or going?
With Lee, we've heard about some bloke called James.
Don't bring me
Sweet,
into this, mate. This is all on you, fella.
Hey,
Don't
no,
bring
it's not
me
on
into
me.
this.
Not on
I'm
me.
in enough trouble as it is.
I didn't spot. Yeah, there's posts on the forum and on Twitter about a lad called James Sweet who's come. Looks like he was released by Arsenal. Looks like he was quite. Arsenal had quite high hopes for him there. He's a bit of a fullback and played wide midfield, and apparently he's featured for our under-23s recently. So, don't know. Maybe he might get called into the first team squad, or might be signed soon. Don't know. So that's one. We've heard a few whispers about some loans as well, and also Phil Chinadu's loan is probably up soon. We think, Dave. So hopefully that might get extended.
Yes, one hopes so. Yes. That bloke from Arsenal you mentioned, we were talking beforehand, and he was in that Arsenal side. We had pre-season 2 seasons ago now. He was, I think he was an unused sub though. But there we go.
Yeah, perfect.
So changes may be afoot.
Interesting. And on that intriguing note, unless we have anything else to add, Lee or Dave?
Well, only that, of course, if it's a draw on Saturday, the replay presumably will be at Clarence Park next Tuesday, 7:45.
We won't need
that's
that.
The spirit.
Let's not worry
yeah,
about
that's
that.
the spirit. Well done, Taves.
Oh dear. Pod for the Saints on Twitter. Thank you for all your contributions as always. Email description below if you want to let us know via longer form text. And thank you all again for joining us as always, watching, listening, viewing. And we will speak to you again next week after the Saints FA Cup journey continues. See you soon, everyone. Bye-bye.